Hi, welcome to Palante. Today we're going to talk about vocabulary words and kind of vocabulary words in the college process. And these are words that you hear thrown around quite often. So it's just going to be like a little intro to that. Disclosure, I will not be going in depth into any of these words. There are different videos if you look under more resources and just like the tabs about these things. But it's just kind of to get a feel for the words that are being thrown at you at the moment or at your kids. And so first we're going to start off by application. So application is essentially where you're going to sort of fill out and then send to universities in order to apply to the university. So the two main ones that are used in Laredo in general are the Common Application, which many people call the Common App, and then we have Applied Texas. And so the main difference between these two is that Applied Texas is primarily for schools that are in Texas, while the Common App is mostly for like schools out of state, but also not limited just out of state. There's also some Texas schools on there. And so depending on the school that you want to apply to, you got to make sure you to see like which application does the school I want to go to take. So yeah, that's an application, and each application is going to require several things, and it really depends on the specific school and what they require, but there are general things that most schools require, and so I'm going to go over those. To start off, we have essays. So essays are essentially just, a statement. They provide you with a question, and you just kind of answer it in writing. That's essentially it. They vary in length, and they usually kind of involve something about you. So sort of like, what is a challenge that you've overcome? How would you describe yourself? What do you want to do in the future? Stuff like that. Sort of to get to know you better and, to see, well, do we want this person in our university or not? Now we have standardized testing. So standardized tests are just kind of tests that everybody throughout the country takes. And so these, if we want to get into very specifics, these are our SATs and ACTs. So it's SAT and then ACT. And so these tests are taken by people on the same day throughout the country. And so it's kind of a way for universities to see, well, this person, compared to everybody in the US, is at this level, and so on and so forth. It's kind of a really, it's like a nice metric for universities to see where you're at. So next we have resumes. So resume is essentially just everything you've done throughout high school. It could even be middle school, and it's just kind of a overview of the activities that you're involved in, which gets me to my other word, extracurriculars. So extracurriculars are sort of like what you do in your free time. So for example, if you're in band, if you're in robotics, if you're in the dance team, sort of like what do you do with your time out to school? And this really helps universities see sort of like what you're passionate about, and that you kind of like spending your time in something that you really, really love. Next up, we have GPA, which stands for grade point average. So depending on what high school you go to and what district you belong to, this sort of like the measurement of GPA is different. Essentially, all it is your grades. So this is solely based on your grades. And so generally, a 4.0 is the highest you can go. But recently, and specifically, United ISD just changed their kind of like highest GPA to a 6.0. So it really depends on your school and how they measure it. Different schools have different ways to measure it, but that your GPA sort of helps universities kind of see what type of student you are in the classroom, and how much effort you put into school, or how well you do in school, and so on and so forth. Next, we have financial aid, and so this is what we like. So financial aid is money. So this is money that comes from several places, which I will get into in a different video. And so financial aid is just how much money are you being given, or how much money did you earn to go to college. And there's different reasons, and there's different ways to get this financial aid. But yeah, that's essentially it. It's just, for now, it's money for college. Next up, we're going to talk about the different types of ways of getting into college. So first up, we have the regular one, regular decision. So you apply to your school, and you hear back X day. You have to apply by a certain date, and they get back to you by a certain date, and that is it. Very simple. But now we have rolling admissions. And so all rolling admissions is essentially like, okay, we're going to be accepting people as they come in. And so generally a lot of universities have certain caps on the number of students they can take. For example, the University of Texas actually has rolling admissions. And so, the sooner you apply, the better, and the better your chances because there are more spots. All right, and now we're gonna go on to early action. Early action is essentially the same thing as it sounds like. You're applying early somewhere. So schools like MIT have early action. And so essentially what this is you're applying early, but you don't have to go to the university. And so you apply early, and if you are accepted, you're accepted early. But you're given the choice of, well, you can apply to other schools and see if you actually want to come here, or no, or yes, I do want to come here, and so you end up going there. But you have the option to pick, which is great. Which brings me to the next one, which is early decision. So early decision is you're gonna apply early. Generally, early decision rates are slightly better than regular decision. This does not mean that it's anywhere easier to get in, like, it doesn't mean that it's easier to get in early decision than it is regular. But statistically, more people get in early decision than regular decision. And so what early decision is you're going to apply to my school. So actually Columbia has early decision. So if you apply to Columbia early decision and you get in, you're forced to go. It doesn't really matter if you change your mind all of a sudden or you no longer want to go. You're kind of binded by a contract to attend the university that you applied early decision to. Alrighty, so that is essentially for the types of ways that you can apply. That's like the general way. You have to check the specific university you're applying to see which one you want to do and which ones they have available as well. So now I'm going to talk about the types of acceptance. So there's obviously the first one, which we all want to hear, which is accepted. And so if you're accepted to the university, that means you are able to go if you'd like. And yeah, that's essentially what accepted means. You can also get rejected, which means you were not accepted to the university. And then going back to like early action and early decision, if you do apply early action or early decision, a university may also defer you. So what you being deferred means is you essentially are in this pool of applicants for early decision or early action, just early application in general. And they looked at your application and, you were a great candidate, but they want to see you in the next round of applications, which would then be regular decision. And so that's essentially what deferred is. And then lastly, we have waitlisted. So waitlisted means that, yes, you were an amazing applicant. We would love to have you in your school, but unfortunately, we don't have space. And so you would be in a wait list. And then depending on how many students accept their admissions to X university, then they see, well, do we have any more space? And if there is space, because you're in that wait list, they kind of like pick you. It's like, okay, well, yes, we have room for the student. And so you are then accepted after that. And so those are like the general kind of like responses that you can get from universities. So next up, I'm just going to talk about major, and which is essentially the last one. So major is just kind of what do you want to study when you get to college. And so, for example, in my case, I want to study computer science, and so that would be my major. For Ivan, for example, he wants to study music, and so that would be his major. And just major is essentially like the path that you're going to be taking in college. So yeah, that's essentially all the crash course information. Just kind of buzzwords you're going to be hearing from now on. And so yeah, that's a general description. If you want a more in-depth look of what each sort of mean and kind of like what their application is, make sure to check out all the other resources available. Thanks for watching. Leave comments down below. And so make sure you're always looking forward and pa'lante.